To make this video, but this is one of those things I think is worth commenting on. I may have literally just watched the video I'm going to talk about, and it is a group calling themselves Make Britain Great Again, who decided to invade, let me just call it left wing for now, bookstore in Fitzrovia in London. So there was about a dozen of these people, male and female. One guy had a Trump mask. They had placards talking about fake news, free Tommy Robinson material, etc. Clearly a right wing group, right? And the target of this was a left wing target. It was a socialist bookshop. It's called Bookmarks. I don't know much about it. It's just described as a socialist bookshop. Um, so they go in. Apparently, one of them kind of went forward. I've seen the whole video. Presumably to be a distraction whilst the others were organizing themselves. And they go in and start shouting about loving Donald Trump, and then, yeah, generally throw their weight around. There was no violence, but it was, a pretty aggressive scene. They were shouting very loudly. The guy with the camera in particular was very vocal. He kept shouting paedophile at the owner, which is definitely legal territory that can count as slander. When they went out after about 5, 6 minutes, he then said, "Oh, and there's no vandalism here," presumably as a defense. Well, actually, there was. They tore up a placard that the shop had about not freeing Tommy Robinson. They were throwing the weight around. They ruined displays, apparently, and they were loudly kind of lambasting the books that were in the store. Now, this is one of those areas where I have to put my principles before my politics. And it is this: I do not like the mindset of the hard left. I do not like the way socialists think about a lot of things. So I imagine there's a lot of books in that shop I would really take issue with. But that really isn't the point. The point here is what is right and wrong in a civilized society. And barging into a bookstore and throwing your weight around is not the way to do things. And what's happened as a result? Well, obviously the bookshop is getting sympathy because people are looking at this as a bunch of rowdy thugs. All the press that is reporting that I can see, albeit left-wing publications like The Independent and The Guardian, are quoting it as masked fascists invade shop. Now, even if that's a debatable point, no one can dispute that this was an aggressive tactic. And especially the cameraman shouting paedophile, paedophile over and over again. Um, that's slanderous because that's indicating that the owner is a paedophile, which there's zero evidence of. It's a very dangerous territory. Definitely, there's books in there that I would take issue with. They picked up one calling The Jewish Question, which I imagine is definitely going to be contentious. There's other books that are churning the Islamophobia narrative, etc., etc. I wouldn't be surprised if they sold Mao's Little Red Book. There is an irony in that, of course. People say targeting books is, a very regressive thing, and generally I agree. But we shouldn't forget some of the most blood-stained um, ideologies in history have used books as a weapon. Mein Kampf, um, Mao's Little Red Book. These are books that literally cause millions of lives. So sometimes the idea that books just spread knowledge is a bit. Books can be dangerous as well. They can be used to spread hate. But this sort of tactic, I mean, what a bunch of dickheads, to put it bluntly. It doesn't achieve anything. It doesn't achieve a damn thing. If you don't like their views, debate with them or challenge them in um, in a civil format. But barging into a bookstore is just stupid. It isn't going to do anything. Probably that bookstore is now going to get a lot more customers. Every time it backfires, that sort of approach. Um, they said there was an anarchist flag outside. Well, if that's true, there is some irony. because anarchists obviously like to smash up things during G20 events. So there is some irony in that. But two wrongs don't make a right. And, you know, what a bunch of dickheads. Also, they're talking about fake news. Well, apparently they were holding up, quotes and material from Alex Jones, who is a well-known hard right conspiracy theorist who has some very troubling views, including, by the way, about Jews. So these Muppets really don't do themselves any favors. What do they think it's going to achieve? It does nothing. All that will do is galvanize the owner to be even more left wing in his views. It's so stupid, and I hope charges were brought. They say, "Oh, no harm was done." Rubbish. Um, it's a public disorder issue. It's a vandalism issue because they tore up a placard that belonged to the shop. There's a lot of areas. It's a slander issue when the cameraman kept shouting at the owner, and it is bullying behaviour, whatever way you look at it. To have a large group of people or a sizable group of people, yelling at one guy's face, which is what was going on there. It was a very unpleasant thing. So I've no sympathy with these idiots. I'm not overly sympathetic to the shop because, like I say, it probably, looking at some of the titles there was definitely far left material. And if it does sell communist publications, well, communism is evil. Communism is responsible for tens of millions of deaths. So it's not that I'm overly sympathetic to the target. I just think there's better ways to go about it. Um, and in the end of the day, I mean, the owner, under the circumstances, I have to say, he was responding calmly. He was asking them to leave. I suppose he didn't have much choice, but there's ways to go about things. That is not one of them. So to that group, Make Britain Great Again, well done. All you have done is scored an own goal. All you have done is galvanise the people that you're against. It's stupid. It's absolutely stupid, and it's the last thing this country needs is idiots barging their way around into bookshops. I've no sympathy with either group. I don't associate with any of these neo-nationalist types, and I've no time for the far left either, those who promote communism and appease Islamism. That sort of regressive left nonsense I've no time for. But there are ways to go about things. This is not one of them. I'll put a link to the video. Thanks for watching.